All right, welcome back to day 4 of practicing Mendelssohn's Songs Without Words, Opus 67, number 1. I think today we're moving on to page 2, which is exciting. But like I said yesterday, I like to start by just going over what I have, see how the progress is coming, and make notes about what I'd like to work on. That's a measure to come back to. So here we are on page 2. This is a little bit newer. That's a lovely suspension. So I want to work on this. So not bad. There were a couple of spots that still need a bit of work. But I wanted to talk about this, some of the fingering in the left hand in the second page. Something that my teacher hit me to that is really unusual is playing 2 thumbs in a row over these chords. This is measure 15. That's a little bit unusual of a fingering. Usually people would do some kind of crossing like that or some kind of stretched out thing like that. The reason why I think it's very good and very clever is that here you're already in position to play the next chord down. Again, you're right in the position to play it. Now, practicing 2 thumbs over a leap of a third takes some practice, for sure. But I like to be a little bit higher on the first thumb, and it's a double rotation to the second thumb. So that's something that definitely needs a little bit of care and attention. And then here, in that next part, it's important. It's a big crossover to play your 3 on a B after playing that A flat. I'm a little bit higher, but I'm also coming in a little bit because I know that my thumb is going to have to play on this G flat. But also, after I play my 3 and I go to my 2, my 3 is released. It's not hanging on to over where the B played, because then that would put me in a stretch position. And as you could see there, this is not far enough in because my thumb is not able to reach the G flat. So I'm gonna need to play that B pretty far inside. I suppose you can come in on the E flat too, but I think it's a little bit more comfortable, because if you block that out, if you rotate over your thumb and look where your 3 naturally plays, it's pretty far inside, which puts you in a fine position. Double rotation down to the 5 again. And the rotation is there, but I really think of that more as a new start. Finish, start. I'm thinking more of coming up on the D flat 7 chord than doing this kind of thing. The A flat's not really associated. The 5 on the A flat's not really associated with the 5 on the D flat there. And then moving on in measure 18. That's a little bit tricky. I think it's the same kind of thing, and that I'm thinking new start, new start. Now this next phrase here is an interesting sequence for the left hand. It's a little bit tricky, and the first thing I like to do in these kind of passages where it's a sequence, meaning it's the same pattern over a repeated multiple times, it could be over different harmonies or varying harmonies. So it starts with this A flat minor chord, first inversion, then this A flat 7, first inversion, D flat 7, D diminished, and then this is like a F minor half diminished, third inversion, and then another D diminished chord. That really helps block it out in my hand, so I'm thinking more about the, I don't have to think about the notes quite as much because I know I'm just going to A flat minor. I'm going to A flat 7, D7. And that's a really good way in these really arpeggiated left-hand passages to just block out the chords, to measure where your hand needs to be. So I'm playing here, then there. You'll notice that I need to be a little bit more inside here because my thumb is playing on a black key. Here my thumb's playing on a white key, black key, white key. And then here we're going octave, octave, 5. Another trick that is convenient is you think about the closest note relationship. So even though your 5 is going from here to there, which is a 10th, pretty big leap for a 5 to a 5. Normally it would be something like that. But here I think about, okay, well my thumb is playing this B, and the closest note is going to be that. So I'm really just thinking about a third there. That's actually going to a 4, excuse me. So 1 to 4 is kind of how I measure, not 5 to 4. So it's certainly not an easy left-hand passage, but certainly doable. It's going to take me a minute to get into my hand. What I'm finding difficult about this moment is actually going back down from the E flat to the C. Again, it's a relationship of a minor third, but you're going from 4 on an E flat to your 1 on a C. So I need to have a big active moment, staccato leap off that E flat to get me down to where the C is. And land a little higher there. And I think it's good to be off the octave as soon as possible. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to want to examine E flat. So if you just take, the pattern goes like this. So I'm just taking the last 16th note and comparing that moment to where I need to be. So E flat to C, E flat to D flat, F to D, F to E flat, F to D. This one actually feels probably the easiest. That one's tricky because if you look at where your thumb is playing on the B, then it needs to play pretty far in. Biggest leap going from a 1 on D to a 5 on the F. So I'm just going to play the left hand just to recap what we did on the second page here. This is measures 15 to 22. This is kind of the bridge of the piece. Let's do that again. Thumb, 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 inside, active leap or staccato leap down, left, left. I also have to come out a little bit there, make a note of that for myself, because your D is going to be playing within the black key area, and it's going to be hard for you to, it's hard for me at least to get out of that. So I want to be in the white key area when I make that leap down to the B octave, C flat octave. Well, maybe that's not so good because then you have to go back in. Maybe just measure it, maybe I need to measure it a little bit better. So a lot of really good left hand work in this piece. I think making good progress on it, and we'll pick it up tomorrow.